Hey, this is Ed, former Hells Angel, California, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got former 1%er Ed.
Never seen an Outlaw patch in person, but all the other clubs I see him, and
Like, there's a lot of Vagos out there in California, right?
yeah, Southern Cal, yeah, all California, Arizona, Nevada now, and
There's a
they're
lot of different clubs out there.
yeah, yeah. I think they're even like up in New York area at least, or something like that.
Yeah, I've never seen one. Not on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have any big fights in bars and things like that with anybody?
Oh, I mean, you got your people, I mean, there's a few. We had different guys, different times, but I remember one time we were out, probably 5 or 6 or 7 of us out, just having a good time. And one of the guys in the club, he went to high school with the lead singer from a band called TSOL, True Sounds Liberty. They're like a punk band. I don't know if you ever heard them, if you're into that stuff or whatever, but they're playing at the bar. We're all out down there. And I don't know, sometimes people just don't like you because you're wearing a patch, and this one guy went up to hit one of our prospects. I was a member at the time, and he went up to hit, I think he went to do something. Somebody pushed him, and then he turned around to clock one of our prospect. I stepped in. I laid him right out. Like I didn't know how hard I hit. I just was. I'm not gonna let you do that to my guys, And because the prospect didn't even know it was gonna happen. He was like with somebody else watching, doing whatever. So he was doing the right thing on his side, but so he didn't even know it was gonna happen. So I didn't know how bad it was, like how bad I hit this guy until one of the other members was telling me the story because like he saw it from the perspective. He goes, I never seen anybody. He said it was just like in the movies. He said that guy flew up on the table. He said his feet flew up in the air and he just went flying across the table. I just nailed it, and then you got to gather up the guys. Now you got to leave the bar. You're sitting there having a good time. It sucks.
Tell me when you first met Peewee.
Oh God, I don't know if I remember the exact first time. It may have been a Frisco thing, or maybe a South Run, North Run thing, or I can't remember exactly the first time I met Peewee, but man, I love that dude instantly. Yeah. That dude is such a good dude. I'm so glad I reconnected with him because it's been years. I mean, it's years. It's 15 years or more probably.
Yeah, he is a great guy.
Yeah, I'll never forget. He walked around. He's a big dude. Like I don't know if you've seen him when he was younger back in the day when he was in the club. Like he was like 400 pounds. I'm 6'3". He's like 6'6". But he would walk up and he had this big belly, but it was like a solid big belly. It wasn't like he was no slob or slouch, he was a stud. And he would just walk up if someone irritated him, he'd just give him a little belly buck. He'd just turn and you could go flying 4 or 5 feet out of the way, and then yeah, oh man, that's such a good dude.
Sonny Barger, you met him before, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, everybody meets him at his book signings and stuff like that. But I do got a little funny story. We were at I think it was Paw Rump. We were doing one of our runs out there. That's like in the middle of Nevada desert somewhere. Our charter was always responsible for making sure security details were accounted for, because on the big runs, all the charters pitched in, and it wasn't just prospects do it; members would do along with the prospects and stuff. And I know there is charter out there at Cave Creek. You get to the run and you sign up for the times you want your guys to do it. All the best time to get picked right away. So if your charter is late, you're kind of screwed. You're doing like the last shift, early morning that last day. And I knew something was going on, that they needed to get back for something. So I had already arranged for his charter. I talked to somebody else, and they switched them. So it already happened. He didn't know it. And he came over, and I go over to Sonny. I'm like, hey, dude, I said, you guys got to get over there and do security. And he's like, what do you mean we got no security? I said, you're signed up. You know, you guys came in. You signed up for security this time. That's what bullshit. He's going off. He's looking at all his veins are popping out his head. I said, so, I start laughing. He's like, what's so funny? I put my arm around Sonny, man. I said, I'm just busting your balls. I said, I already got it straightened out. You guys did your security last night. You're good to go, man. Fuck you.
It's hilarious. What's your perspective on Sons of Anarchy coming out? Do you think it hurt the club or helped?
What do I think about the show?
Yeah.
I mean, it was entertaining, you know. Was it realistic? Some incidences, you know. But, you know, they got to glorify that stuff for TV. I mean, you're not blowing up clubhouses and businesses and having shootouts in the streets every other week, you know. And another funny thing is, you know, a lot of guys in the club were in that show, you know.
Yeah.
Guys, especially the guys
Sonny was in it.
But yeah, oh yeah, Sonny, yeah. But a lot of the guys from Oakland were in it because that, you know, one of the guys that was one of the main characters that became a main character. He was a behind the scenes guy, and then he became a main character. And then that was Happy. His name was on the show. I don't want to say his real name, but everybody can figure it out or probably knows that watched it anyway. But
I don't believe he's in the club anymore, is he?
No, he's not. Yeah. And I actually prospected a lot with him, probably for almost a year. You know, I made member before he did, so I remember when he made member. I remember getting that phone call from him because we all call each other and let you know, hey, I made it, and you're like, yeah, bro, yeah, you know, and they're all excited. I remember getting that phone call from him, and I was proud of him, you know.
Your time riding with these guys, has there been a lot of crashes?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's people died. You know, there's one of the guys coming home from a run up Northern California. You don't think about California and snow and ice or nothing. I wasn't there for it. This guy's coming home and tractor trailer or some truck had a big sheet of like ice on the top of it, flew off, hit him on the bike, killed him instantly. You know, you go to funerals all the time. You know, all the time. I had a crasher too, the funny one. You know, here I am. I think I was a prospect at the time, maybe. I don't remember. I was going on my way to church. Yeah, Southern California traffic sometimes is just, you ain't moving, you know. And yeah, it's legal to split lanes out there, but there's still limits you're supposed to do no more than so many miles per hour or whatever. Well, you know, you're a prospect for the club and you don't want to be late, you know. Yeah, you'll pay a fine, but there's going to be other consequences probably too, you know. And you don't want to find out what those consequences are. So I'm hauling ass. I mean, traffic's moving 10, 15 miles an hour. I'm just hauling ass. I'm like, I got to get there. Well, someone swerves over. I locked it up. Scared the crap out of me. You know, nothing happened. I was like, whoo. I was like, you know what? My life ain't worth it. I'll just deal with it. So I find over. I pull into the little side area where I could squeeze in between some cars. And I'm just like, I'll just go with the flow for now. And I'll be all right. 5 minutes down the road, all of a sudden, I get some little beater car comes up, wham, right into me, knocks me out. I go flying down. I pulled off to the side of in the median there. I'm laying there holding my leg, and I'm like, holy shit, it hurt, And some car behind us stopped, and the person that hit me stopped, and I'm laying there holding my leg, and some lady comes up to me, grab my leg. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, I don't know. It hurts. And then the lady walks away, and then some other guy's there, and he's like, hey, I saw the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I said, just can you get the bike up for me? And then people are like, yeah, you want to call the cops or no? I just get the bike up for me. I think I can ride down, and I could barely stand up while this dude comes back. He's talking to me. And I'm still laying there trying to whatever. And he's like, hey, are you okay? I'm the one that hit you. I said, well, what happened to that lady? And the other guy looked at me and he just starts shaking his head. Well, here it is. This dude or lady that hit me was a dude, but now had big old Anderson, you know, and the dude still looked like Larry and Moe combination from the Three Stooges, but with these big old tits.
What do you do? Whip the rig off? What do you have, a wig on?
I don't know if it's a wig or not, but I mean, he was fugly, and so I'm sitting there. So I finally helped get me up, and I'm like, hey man, I said, I want to get your insurance information, get your name, and here I think I'm talking to the dude, but the dude has boobs, and I'm like, this is weird, This is the first time, and this was before it was cool to do that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I won't say the full name, but I'll say, and he's like, in a deep man voice, like, my name's Catherine. I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, let me see her. It was on his ID. That was his name or her name, whatever she went by. And I'm like, holy crap. And he's like, yeah. And he's telling me the story. He just in the middle of this transition. He just literally got this done like a week prior. The car he bought, he just bought off of somebody up in Oxnard, I think, is where it was. So he gives me the insurance information, but it was their information because he didn't have all his stuff yet because he literally just bought the car like the day or two before from him. And so I was like, all right, thanks, man. And the ambulance shows up and they're like, hey, everything okay? Should we call the cops? No, we're good. My bike, the handlebars are all crooked. I'm not praying to God it starts because if it don't start, they're calling the cops. So I started up, and in the meantime, I had to call in to the guys down there. So they brought a pickup truck, and they're waiting down the next exit for me. So I start up, the bike's sideways. I'm like holding it like this, shaking, and they're just waiting for me to probably fall over. And then we get over and load the bike up. Then I go back up. I track down the place that the people that sold them the car, drive all the way up to Oxnard. It's like probably about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour past Ventura. So it was a good haul for me. It's like a 2.5-hour drive. And I go knock on his door and I tell these people, and this guy answered the door. I said, hey, the vehicle that you sold this person was involved in an accident. He hit me yesterday. I said, I understand you're not liable, but I'm trying to see if I can get something out of insurance, And he's like, really? I said, yeah. And I gave him, told him the name and this and that. And I start telling the guy the story. And his son comes out. He overhears this. His son comes out. He's like, I knew something was effed up about that guy. I knew because they didn't even know he had the boob job and done all that yet. It's like they didn't see that yet. Like it literally just happened. I get this dude, girl, whatever you call it, was in a halfway house right across the street from them and was moving down to San Diego to try to start a new life. And it was hilarious.
Started off pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
You've been all over the country as a Hell's Angel, right? What's it like to go on to the East Coast? And can you tell me about when you got your Philly side rocker?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, obviously that's the area I'm from, so I would go back to visit. But one of the things, one of my last things as a prospect, because I wasn't from out there west. So when you join something like that, they do a full on like private investigation, background check on you. So it's hard to do it from people out of state, especially across the country. So one of the last things is they needed to meet some of my family and friends and this and that. And then there was a funeral. Tommy. He was killed or whatever happened to him, and there was that funeral. So we all send every charter sends somebody out of respect, and so the one guy that was going, and they said, well, you got to go. That's where you're from. I said, yeah, no problem. So I jump in the car, and like the whole plan I had all set up, I was going to rent a car and take them up to see my family and some friends and stuff like that. And so I lived about an hour and 20 minutes probably from Philly, and get there, and it turned out to be a snowstorm. Roads were shut down, like you couldn't go anywhere. I'm like, oh my God. So I came all the way out here. Well, of course, for the funeral and pay respects, but now I can't like fulfill the requirement that they wanted. He wanted to meet my family and stuff like that. Well, luckily I got my best friend I grew up with lived only right across the bridge in New Jersey. So I went to there was a guy from Denver charter that I prospected with, but he had just made a member. He had a car. I said, dude, I need to borrow your car, man. I told him, he's like, yeah, hell yeah. Throws me the keys. And You know, so I got these two guys from Southern California that really never even seen snow, let alone like 2 feet of it, you know, and roads shut down. There's cars off the sides of roads because they, you know, just can't drive. And so I kind of miss driving in that stuff. So I get the car, I'm getting this car sideways. And the one member that was with me, he was a nut. Like he loved all that crazy. Like he's sticking his head out the window. Yeah, the snow and blizzard sideways. The other guy, you know, he's a little Mexican guy or whatever, and he was a prospect too. He came with, and he just his face was white. He was like a ghost sitting in the back, almost ready to puke as I'm flying down the road.